Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Kathy Clater.
Yes.
Ellen Spalding.
Here.
Gerald Oliver.
Yes.
Scott Hagan.
Yes.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to administer the oath to our new board member, Kathy Muse. Kathy, could you come forward?
Test, test, test.
Go over.
I, Kathy Muse, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Amen.
It's the crummy old chair.
So I would like to officially welcome Kathy Muse to the board. Bless you. To give a little bit of context, the board vacancy has been vacant for more than 60 days, which requires the county to actually appoint our board members once it gets to that point. And Kathy was appointed on Tuesday during their meeting. So we're really excited. That's why we're not voting her in. And we're not going through that process because it had to go through the county and it was already done. So just a little bit of background on the oath of office. So welcome, Kathy.
Welcome. At this time, we'll open up for public comments on anything that is not being addressed on the agenda. Any public comments? We'll move on to agenda approval. Any public comments on the agenda?
So on the agenda this week or this month, I had a minor technical issue that popped up that caused some confusion, so I apologize for that. Basically, what happened is we had printed the agenda out to post it to the window and the bulletin and so forth, and there was a last-minute adjustment for an item that needed to be an action item that was not listed as an action item. Ironically, we now can't move forward with it because this is a special meeting instead of a board meeting, but it is what it is. But in the effort of putting that information in, it pushed everything else down from page 4 to page 6. So I reprinted those pages. Part of that process after I was done with that was I save it or print it to a PDF file. In that process, it only printed the last 3 pages of the board agenda. So when I uploaded it to the website, it only had the last 3 pages of the board agenda. If this had been an issue where we thought it was going to negate people's ability to contribute or participate, we would have canceled the meeting. But the entire board packet was available. Everything on the agenda except for those first 3 pages were available. And those first 3 pages were available in 3 out of the 4 postings. So we felt that in the interest and respect of everybody's time, I know some of you schedule this time available for meetings. It made sense to continue forward with the meeting, but the only way to do that and be compliant with the Brown Act was to cancel the board meeting and reschedule it as a special meeting. So it was an abundance of caution to go ahead and do that and just maintain that compliance with the Brown Act was our effort. So I apologize for any confusion. I apologize for any inconvenience in that space, but that was basically the runaround of what had happened.
Well done, Mike.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to any board discussion or we'll start with any additional public comment regarding the agenda.
Board discussion?
So does this mean this agenda that we have from our packet needs to be amended to say special meeting?
Everything should already be completed in that space. So the agenda specifies special meeting. On the website, it still had because it's a special meeting, it has a new classification. And so the agenda that's associated to the board is now the cancellation notice with the rescheduling notice attached to it. But the agenda as it sits on the website and is posted is a special meeting. So all the rules of a special meeting apply, which is why we cannot vote in board policy at this meeting, which we'll get to when we get to, I think it's item 12. Any additional board discussion? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve it?
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second.
All right. Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Alan Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
Yes.
and Kathy Muse.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to item 7.
Approval of the minutes from our June 11th meeting. Comments open to the public? To the board? None?
No.
Motion to approve the June 11th meeting minutes?
All motion. Second.
All right. Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Alan Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
Moving on to item 8, the general manager report. So as far as what happened this month, we're kind of covering a bit of ground. I wanted to start with the holiday weekend and all the events we had. It went very successfully. I think we set a new record we might talk about when it comes to the fire report. We also had a great turnout for bingo. We had 59 people that were playing and $179 brought in for the rec district. So that's a fantastic turnout. A lot of positive feedback as well, people having fun. And we worked with the county sheriff to determine a solution where kids could be available to the area, but we actually have them playing outside under a canopy and they play their own game and they can win toys and kites and stuff like that, which keeps them engaged while their parents are playing. And it turned out really well. And it seemed like there was a lot of positive feedback in that space. So I would like to publicly thank Linda and John for putting the effort to do that. And they continue to bring that money in for the rec district. So
Thank you, guys.
thank you guys.
You did a good job.
As far as budget preparation, there was a slight delay in that process that we'll get to. I think I forget what item number that is, but basically we need to publish a meeting date 2 weeks prior to voting that in to finalize it. Unfortunately, I didn't do that in time. So we cannot vote that in at this meeting, but we can either push it back to August, or we can do a special meeting, but we need to know 2 weeks in advance so we can publish that in a local paper, I believe, just letting people know that that's when it'll be being done. So as far as other items on the agenda, we have a lot of policy compliance items on the agenda this month, and this is due to a progress report we had with our OES grant, and they required particular policies that we submitted. Most of them we had, but they have just very dated. So one of the recommendations / requirements was that we update the verbiage and bring these policies to date so that we can move forward with our OES grant reimbursement process and all that stuff. So that is why these particular policies are on the agenda today. I've submitted all these policies to, I believe her name was Michelle, and she said that they all suit her need, and as long as we vote them in, we're good to go. But we cannot vote them in. We have to do first readings, and then they'll get voted on in 30 days. Also, being a special meeting, we don't have the luxury to vote them in anyway, so we'll do the first readings instead. As far as billing goes, we've had a lot of folks that were unaware due to our statements and the way they were labeled that they had past due balances. And those folks have come in and graciously paid up, and we're starting to really clean up a lot of those things. I'm continuing to work with Holly to make sure that our new billing includes any past due amounts so people are aware that this even took place. To provide perspective, and I think we've all been guilty of it, imagine getting a PG&E bill and life happens, you don't pay it, and then the next month when you get your bill, it doesn't tell you that you forgot to pay last month's. That's pretty much what was going on. So my recommendation, we don't really have an item on this, is moving forward, if we can get these guys squared away in a reasonable amount of time, we can waive all late fees, as people probably weren't aware they were even late. And then as we move forward, we can start implementing the board policy that we voted on a couple months back with the late fees and stuff of that nature. But we're continuing to clean that up, and that's been an awesome effort by Kelly and Stacy in the office, making sure that happens, as well as the community being gracious and coming in and taking care of those issues. So thank all of you.
Yeah, it's great.
On the sewer system planning, I don't want to take too much away from Brad here, but we have been working really closely with Kathy and Dave, and we have some efforts being made to get a Vector truck out here. The Vector truck, from what I understand, can both clean pipes as well as vaults as well as camera. And so we can have them go through, and the effort will be for each of the 4 lift stations and then adjacent areas as far as the camera will reach, and that'll be a good starting point. But we're currently getting bids for that I'll present to the board, either in a special meeting if we get them soon enough, or it'll be in the August meeting.
Perfect.
We are also going back to the OES grant. I forgot to mention, part of that progress report included some opportunities we have for a corrective action plan that would basically set up a more concise way, an organized way of monitoring all of the funds that we're spending, as well as the funds that are getting reimbursed, as well as the assets we're acquiring and the lifespan of those assets. So that would be all of our hardware and things of that nature. There's a process being part of that OES grant that requires us to monitor that and separate that from our personal finances. So I'm working with Holly to adjust our or to adapt our chart of accounts to have specific accounts for those items. And I think the move forward there, because we have 5 projects under the OES grant, that we would have a master category for the account and then the 5 sub accounts, so we can monitor each and every bucket and make sure that we're getting reimbursed for what was designated for us. So I am working through that. In that effort as well, seeing how we're going through the process, I'm trying to put together a template for any additional potential grants that we get, where it's like, okay, this is the process and how we do it. so that we have those guardrails up. So anybody and everybody has an idea of like, we're not just flying by the seat of our pants trying to figure it out. We have a nice direction and a good starting place. So that has been an effort that I've made this month as well. I think that probably covers, I'm sure there's more, but always busy, always busy. So I will open it up to any public comment. And turn it over for board discussion.
New computers have been ordered.
New computers have been ordered. I think we're going to cover, maybe we don't have an OES update. New computers have been ordered. The process there is they go to VC3, they get all the softwares necessary loaded onto the computers, and then they send them to us. That will allow them to virtual in and take care of any problems we have. So that is all underway. The approximate time frame there, from what I heard, was approximately 6 weeks. They have, I think it's a 3 or 4 week shipping for them to receive it, and then about 2 weeks for them to get that project done, and then they'll come out our way. Once those items are there, then we'll get the firewall, the switch, and the wireless access point ordered that were voted on last meeting. Those are physical installations that need to take place, so they will schedule a time to come out and physically install those things. We will have all the hardware available at that time. Okay? All right. Appreciate you. We'll have all the hardware available at that time, so we can go ahead and get any last minute complications. We'll have physical bodies here to help us through that process. So, yeah. Any additional board discussion?
I have a question on your, on the bank.
Yes.
Are you guys still with US Bank?
Yes.
Is there still a problem with US Bank on writing checks and they have to be approved before they cash them?
Sort of. So we have, US Bank is a multi-tiered situation. We have our bank accounts that are for everyday use, sewer, fire, rec. We also have our US Bank treasuries, which is all of the bond accounts as well. So depending on what part of US Bank we're talking to, we have different points of contact. But to answer your question regarding checks approval, we have an anti-fraud. It's called Single Point, but it is through US Bank. Has its own point of contact. And essentially they do, I'd say, fairly basic monitoring of checks, verifying that the dollar matches what's going out, the check number matches, like stuff like that. And if there's any discrepancies there, they get kicked back. There have been issues with Single Point where they kick back checks that they shouldn't. And we get, was it 1 day? So we have 1 day to see that come through and push it through manually, or it just automatically gets declined. So if we happen to write a check on a Thursday and Kelly's not in the office on Friday, for whatever reason gets kicked back, that check will get declined. But we've put in kind of systems in place to negate that process. And when was the last time we had one that was a problem? Okay. So we're working through that, but it's not.
Is that normal for the banks to do that? Or is that something you guys initiated?
I think it was something that was initiated prior to the current folks. And I think it was in an effort to be anti-fraud. That being said, I was talking to Daniel and Joanne, there are liaison for Single Point. There's a whole slew of things that they're recommending that we do to streamline the process. But a lot of that is kind of, it's beyond our scope at this time. When we get our updated computer, we get like stuff going on. It's just, it's a process basically. But if it's something we can work with them to figure out what those solutions are, I mean, it's definitely on the radar.
Is there any other banks available besides US Bank?
So, so if we're sticking to Susanville area, I've been told there's two. One is a local bank and one's US Bank. And then
Local bank.
I can't remember the name of it.
Plymouth.
Plumas. So that potentially could be an option, or I would think another national bank. I would be curious. Migrating this would be a pretty large undertaking. Not to say it wouldn't be worth it, but it seems to be the systems we have in place are functioning in a way that maybe US Bank will prevail. That being said, the local resource of US Bank in Susanville, from what I understand, is not a resource for us. We do have to do everything via the phone because they're not really equipped to handle district in that space at that particular facility.
I know I've done business with Plymouth Bank before.
Right.
And the banks that they have bought out, they do have a lot of anti-fraud because they are a local bank. Sometimes when they're the smaller local ones, you get a lot more than a national bank like US.
Okay.
The single point that we have for the fraud is the ideal of it is not bad. My problem that I have with it is I have to manually log in to single point. I have to manually put each check in, the amount, to whom it's going to, and then I say issue it. Okay, my thing is if I'm going into US Bank, manually putting this stuff in, and they kick it back for whatever reason, you know,
Waste of your time.
it's a waste of my time. Now, if an outside check tries to get cashed or something like that, it's great. It catches it. But if I'm going in and manually putting it in, logging into their system, why are you kicking my checks back? That's the only issue I have with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional board discussion? All right. Then we will move on to item number 9, the sewer report with Brad Mallory.
Since our last meeting, we've made good progress on several operational and maintenance projects throughout the wastewater system. Following the repair of Pond 2, we shut down Pond 3 and put Pond 2 back into play. I'm already lost. Because you took the whole Kathy Stone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've also been working on the vegetation out of the ponds while I was out there. I pumped Pond 1 into Pond 2 as well, as long as I could. I did that for about 4 days. And while I was out there, I removed vegetation out of the pond. So as Mike's discussed, we were gonna, discussing with Kathy and Dave, we were gonna get that Vector truck and clean out the system. We are hoping to do the 10,000 gallon vaults in order to get rid of all the debris in the 10,000 volt and also give us our full volume of the 10,000 volt, plus remove any debris around the pumps. That way the pumps can actually work effectively and efficiently. And then Dave has me started on, I reached out 2 weeks ago, I think it was, to RCAC to, he told me they offer either a low or no cost camera inspection for sewer systems.
Oh,
so
really?
I jumped on that. I'm waiting to hear back from them. On the safety side, we received and I will install new signage for each of the lift stations. I got 4 confined space for all the check valve bolts. And I got 5 to 6 do not tamper with. This is a federal offense because we need those if people are going to be messing with our stuff. Last but not least, I have a positive update on lift station 3. Since Nova Electric came out last time, everything has been running perfectly fine. They replaced the breaker, they reset the switches. They did all the things that they needed to do, and everything's working perfect now. I am currently working on getting bids to fix the tractor. I spoke with Bubba. He had a bid done back in 2022 through Dave Tractor Inc. out of Red Bluff, and they are going to get back to me with current bid of what it would cost to repair and replace the tractor. Well, fix the tractor, not replace, but fix.
Perfect. How's Pond 2 looking? Is it filling up at all or?
Not yet. It's working on it. It's the little pond that could.
So we'll open up for any public comment. I would like to take the opportunity to just mention that these things that we're focused on and we're working on are an effort to address the notice of violations we've got from February of last year, as well as November of last year from Lahontan and the State Water Board with signage and stenciling and marking and the pond 2 fix and yada, yada. Like this is the focus that we're really putting forth here. And with Dave and Kathy's expertise has really been helpful to kind of help prioritize what we should be focusing on and getting that done. Kathy did talk directly with Mike Reese and Trevor Miller at Lahontan, and they have a really good rapport going on, and they were very excited to hear that she was on board here to help us. And so I think all that is really moving in a positive direction.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Any additional public comment? And board discussion?
Thank you for getting all that done.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's
You're
a lot.
welcome. Thank you.
We're definitely making progress.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to the fire report, item 10 with Frank Muse.
So we had the holiday weekend. We had new record, 228 people we served at the pancake breakfast. Everybody had a great time. Did both tables in this room as well as over in the dining hall, well, the garage. Worked out really well. And we got dispatched in the last month. So one fire, as a reminder to the public and everybody, burn season's done. Please do not burn your burn piles, especially when they're larger than a Volkswagen. We got called out to do a smoke check, and the gentleman had 20 burn piles. Yeah. We got called out for 7 medicals, and then we did get a neighborhood text dispatch for Stones requesting a water tender over in Susanville. So we're talking with dispatch trying to figure that one out because they were going to request water tenders from Milford, us, and I forget who the third one was. And it would take over an hour for us to get there. And it was across from Cal Fire.
Can't make it up.
Yeah. We got the hydrant at the sewer ponds fixed. That's fully operational. We are looking into probably installing a sump pump. So what happened with that was the water actually above the transducer that's in there, in the pressure tank, and it flooded the transducer, deemed it unoperational. So we got that fixed. And then that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Any rebate on the $10,000 paid for the water tender?
So Kenworth
Wasn't Kenworth going to get back to you?
Kenworth never billed us.
Oh,
So it was, we walked out with a thank you of have a great day and we're good. That bill ended up being about $2,800. So they didn't bill us for it.
nice.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Any other questions?
I will open up for public comment. And board discussion. All right. We'll move on to item 11, which is board reports from the board members.
I don't have anything.
Neither do I.
Me neither.
It's you.
Oh, me?
Board report.
I poured another slab for the mailboxes and they should be installed within a week or two, I think he said.
Where's that?
In the Sycamore.
Where's
then
the
there's
other one going to be?
It's between Ridge and Almond. That one.
You take the one out.
It's still sitting there
Still sitting there.
until a week or two and then they can
Take it.
do whatever you want to do.
In that space, I was talking to Dan. He just wanted me to reiterate the mailboxes will be moving out to where they're pouring the slabs, and anything that has to do. So you might see some changes in the coming weeks. I think it sounds like it might be pretty soon. But anything that is happening as far as mail needs to be followed up with USPS. The district does not have anything to do with public mail. So as far as those boxes are concerned, as far as the boxes in here are concerned, anything that's related to USPS, we want to follow up with USPS because it's not in our jurisdiction to take care of those issues.
Yes.
I know you're brand new, but did you have anything you would like to report on?
No.
Okay, perfect. I feel bad I excluded you. All right. So as we move on to item number 12, board policy 3105, this is our problem child. So ultimately, it was the adjustment we made for the budget to basically align our board policy with the state requirements. And there was slight discrepancies there that caused confusion. Because this is a special meeting, we are not allowed to vote this in. We did our first reading last month, but it does state in our board policy 10.2 that any board policies need to be voted in at a quote regular meeting. So because this is not a regular meeting anymore, it's a special meeting, we can't really vote this in. So with an abundance of caution, I recommend we go ahead and table this and we'll vote it in August. Do we have any public comment? Any board discussion?
Is there any way I can get a copy of the budget?
I'm sorry.
Is there a way I can get a copy of the budget?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll make a motion to table it.
Yeah, I'll second.
All right. Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Alan Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Sky Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
All right. So we voted to table that item. Moving on to item 30. Spalding budget update. We kind of covered this already, but what's going on with the budget right now is the budget committee has presented the budget. We've brought that to the public. In order for us to vote on that and move forward with it, it requires that we publish the date 2 weeks in advance of when we're going to do that. That's what I failed to do for this meeting, which is why we're not voting in on it today, and I apologize for that. But we can either do a special meeting sometime between now and August to vote that in, and there might be some other pressing things that pop up in that space. But we will need to know the date of that meeting 2 weeks in advance. Or we can just go ahead and vote it in August because we know what that date is and work on getting that publication done. There's not really a voting item, but we'll open it up for any public discussion as far as adopting the budget. All right, board discussion.
Would sooner be better than later? I mean,
At this point, we're actually already not in compliance as we're supposed to vote that in prior to July 1st. So it'll be ahead of schedule compared to where we've done it in the past most years. But obviously we are trying to set that bar a little higher. So it's a frustrating delay, but I don't think there's really a consequence to it other than
probably not, but that being said, it's probably pressing. We should probably do a special meeting.
Okay. Would that be the consensus of the board to move forward on a special meeting? Okay. All right. Perfect. So we'll have to schedule that one out 2 weeks in advance. So once I have, we'll have to pick the day so I can publish that date 2 weeks in advance. So we'll get that figured out and then schedule that.
That would be sometime the last week in July.
Yeah. Perfect. So moving on to new business. Was there any additional board discussion in that space? Okay. Moving on to new business spare pump. So speaking with Kathy and Dave, each of our lift stations has 3 pumps, which is in and of itself a backup plan. And they alternate in the way they cycle through. But the recommendation for districts such as ourselves would be to have a spare pump that's brand new sitting here ready to go, so that if a pump fails, we can drop it in, take the other one out, and work on replacing parts and getting that one functional. So basically, it just affords us the opportunity to have a backup plan. If, I mean, heaven forbid, 3 pumps went out at the same time, we would be able to at least throw some pump in there and do something. So I got 1 bid on the pump currently. It's $2,650 plus shipping. It is a fairly heavy item, so I can imagine shipping could be $300 to $500 ish. But I was going to either suggest that we move forward with purchasing a replacement pump to spend up to, but not to exceed the amount that I have for the current bid, or I can work on getting those 3 bids active and then bring that to the board probably during the special meeting to see if we want to move forward there. But either way, the model, make, and everything of the pump is price and delivery timeframe would really be the variables. So I will open that up to any public comment. Yes, sir. Anybody online won't be able to hear you if you're not on the
Okay.
mic.
Yeah. All I was asking about the pump, you said there's 3 other pumps there, and if all 3 were to fail, you got a new one to go. Is that ever happened? 3 pumps at the same time?
So what has happened that makes it worthwhile is one of the pumps will show that it is running when it's not actually running. And so that was the electrical issue we had last month that Brad worked with Nova Electric to fix, and it's been working great since. So in that, the pump wasn't actually damaged. It's just it was not receiving power to turn on. So the signal was showing that it was on, but it wasn't actually running. So if that were to happen and we had one pump fail, it would be our high float, that would engage the third pump. And so even though 2 of them technically could be functioning, one of them might not actually be running. So it's kind of an abundance of caution to go that direction, as well as when we look at all of our pumps, I think they're all approaching what is considered end of life. They're all 20 years old. So to have a spare that gives us the opportunity to drop one in and bring the other one out, give us something to work on for the next time. It's kind of a best practice for districts such as ourselves.
It's just the way things change. I just went through this at my house, and the pump that I thought was state-of-the-art thing now, 8 years later, is already outdated, and they got a new and improved. And I'm glad, because I thought about doing the same thing, and I'm glad that I didn't do it now, because they don't even make parts for that one anymore.
Yeah.
So I was just curious.
And we're potentially going to run into that too with the make and model of
better. Yeah.
So we have to figure out if there's a better version that fits, that does the thing and all the things, but it's a process. But having a spare pump was highly recommended by Kathy and Dave.
Cool. Thank you.
Any additional public comment? Board discussion?
Is that 2650 kind of a standard bid? I mean, is that what the actual pump costs? If you went to 3 different places, you'd probably get the 2650 bid.
100% honesty, I do not know. I talked to one person and that was what they quoted me. So I will get 3 bids behind the scenes either way, and then we'll move forward with the best price. But I just if we wanted to move forward sooner than later, I didn't have time to get the 3 bids prior to the meeting, so we can go ahead and vote. I think we did this with the water tender up to, but not to exceed an amount. So if we wanted to move forward that way. Okay.
But then when we have our special meeting at the end of the month, then we need to look at the 3 bids at that time.
Okay. So we'll bring 3 bids to the board and we'll vote on it later.
Yes.
I'd like to also see you get a price on what a new pump would be, because you just said those were 20 years old.
Yeah.
You could have the old pump go in and you just bought a replacement for it and you get no replacement parts.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a new pump, it may cost you cheaper to replace the one broken down with a new one and start upgrading your pumps as you're going along.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a price on the new pump first.
Okay. And I think the only variable there would be making sure that it physically fits in the spot and making sure it's a comparable.
Yes.
But I think that's an absolute great suggestion.
It just starts upgrading your system.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess at that point with the spare pump, I would recommend that we move to table the spare pump until we get 3 bids and find out if a new version would be a better alternative. Do I have a motion?
No motion.
I'll say.
All right. Kathy Clater, Alan Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
The motion was to table for 3 bids and look into a potential new version. Moving on to item 15, we've got the email migration quote from VC. So this is part of the OES grant reimbursement in an effort to get us to enterprise standard for safety, for security, all the things. If I'm being 100% honest, this is the kind of stuff that's a little beyond my understanding and my skill set. Part of this is we're moving from a .org email to a .gov, but all the .org emails will pass through. So it's not like we all get new emails or anything like that. But the .gov affords us certain securities we don't have now. But it was part of what was set aside for the grant to move us into a more secure networking situation. So that is what I'm bringing to the board today to move forward. And again, in an effort to expedite the main concern on the VC3 side of things with the OES grant is timing. We are coming up on August 31st. We need to spend all of the 2022 money. And then we have till December 31st to spend all of the 2023 money. Well, the way they separated the buckets, each bucket, with the exception of one, is basically half and half. So we have to complete basically the whole project by August 31st. Otherwise, we're going to lose the 2022 money. So that's the next step of that process. So we're kind of being a little preemptive here because we're not ready to move forward here. But when the laptops land, the wireless goes in, the firewall, the switch, all the things, this will be the next thing that we need to move forward with. So we got to get the invoice so we can get reimbursed and all that. So that's why I would recommend that we move forward with this and get this moving.
Yep.
Any public comment? And board discussion?
Is it possible at the same time you're doing this to go into, let me use their name as an example. It's called Pork Bun. And you go in and register domain sites that are anything similar to yours.
I have not looked into that, but I could definitely bring it up.
I would do 3 other nonprofits I'm their secretaries for. And we've taken one of them, and I'll tell you an example of what can happen. It's a cemetery. And we've taken happyvalleycemetery.org, happyvalleycemetery.com, Happy Valley Cemetery Association.org, all of them. And I've already locked those domains up. Nobody can ever take those domains from me. The reason I did this was because we lost one year. We had a site that was devil worshippers on a cemetery site. This was really fun. They logged in and used one of ours, but they just changed one word in it. And I got it locked up now. They can't do that. They only did it for 1 year. But when you logged into the Happy Valley Cemetery, here comes this devil worshiping site that was not a pretty site to look at. But it's so easy for somebody to go in there and knock out your anything you want. And all it takes is somebody to give it a computer and think that's your site and they're in it.
I would be curious as the cost of that.
$3 a year for me to per one.
Okay.
I've got probably 45 to 50 locked up totally between everybody.
Okay.
And I think I just wrote them a check for $140.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I locked them all up for a year.
I think that's a great suggestion. I'll run that by Amber. She's our VC3 and
Now,
just
they
see what
could
the
every
benefits
event,
are.
They could use everything and use your .orgs and use your .coms. They can't get them.
Okay.
And when they come available, they'll tell you it's available. Do you want to lock that one up?
And that was Pork Bun?
It's called Pork Bun.
Okay, perfect. I'm sure she's aware of it, so I'll run it
I'm
as
sure
an
there's
idea.
other sites that do
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
my IT guy is the one that found it. It was the cheapest one and most secure site there is.
Yeah. And I would imagine it would be a great anti-fraud kind of situation if somebody were to do a sister site to Spalding and put misinformation out there. I mean, that could be pretty detrimental.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll definitely look into that. Any additional board discussion?
Should go ahead and move on. That we have it in place. And once stuff ready to go.
Okay. So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Alan Stallings,
Yeah.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
Yes.
and Kathy Muse.
Yes.
Moving on to item 16 with the board policy 2067 grievance. So that's budget policy. Got the wrong policy in front of me. So basically, this is one of the items we talked about with updating and bringing to a fresh level of verbiage and just meeting requirements for the OES grant. So in this space, I have the opportunity. So we're talking about the board policy for grievance procedures. It's policy number 2067. I can read this in its entirety. There's nothing to vote on right now. It's a first reading, so we wouldn't be able to act on it until a month from now. Or we can move to waive a full reading, and then I can just kind of give you an overview of what exactly is changing, if you would prefer.
I will.
Okay.
Quite
So,
lengthy.
okay. So to do that, we just need a motion to waive in a second.
Second.
All right. And then I'll go through Kathy Clater, Derek, Helen Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
Okay. So basically what we're doing is we're updating verbiage and to be more specific and more descriptive language that is more, I guess, more this decade, I'll say, but it's just kind of moving through. Instead of one of the things was all regular employees and all classifications, they actually broke that out to be district employees, applicants, volunteers, contractors, consultants, just more specific about who that includes as far as the grievance process. So these were suggestions that were brought to me by, I believe it was Michelle. It might have been Haley. Now I'm thinking about it. But anyway, at OES, as one of the things that we were falling down on our policies when I shared them, that we needed this specific verbiage to bring us up to date and make us compliant. There's verbiage in here talking about reasonable steps, which again, being a small district, there's things that we do our best to comply with, and and that's where we have that verbiage in there that we're going to do everything reasonable for our district. We're not Los Angeles County, so we have some limitations as far as that goes. But that is essentially what we're talking about here with the grievance procedures, and those are available for anybody to look. What we have here is we have a strikeout for anything that was previously on the policy, and then a highlight for everything that has changed. And there's 3 pages, and I'm glad you spared me the need to read them all as far as what is being adjusted. And it's only the first page that we're actually changing of the board policy. So that is what we got going on for the grievance policy number 2067. So I'll open it up for any public comment. And board discussion.
Yeah, nothing looks good.
So ideally, we'll be voting on that come August for the meeting. So I'd just say when we have time, let's kind of really fine tooth comb it and make sure that all of our I's are crossed and our T's are dotted. Perfect. All right. Moving on to the next one is going to be item 17, board policy 2800, equal opportunity. And again, we're in the same space here where we're really updating language. So if, again, I can read this in its entirety, or we can move to waive the entire reading. Okay.
Second.
All right. Kathy Clater, Ellen Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Sky Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
Okay. So again, it's a lot of the same where it's just being more specific about the verbiage that's coming in. We had some things that were highlighted and more summarized, but it just kind of spells it out in greater detail, exactly what our equal opportunity is, and non-discrimination, and yada, yada, yada. So it's most of this verbiage came from Haley directly as far as what she needed in there, and that's why it's in there. And then I did on all of these look at other board policies for comparable situations and kind of compiled them into a thing that worked for us. But I would suggest that we take a deeper look at it before we vote it in August. Any public comment? Any board discussion? All right, then we'll move on to item 18. Would you like to share with the class? Got a giggler next to me. All right. Item 18 is the board policy 2805, affirmative action. So again, we can move to negate an entire reading if we'd like to, or I can read it in its entirety. All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Kathy Clater, Ellen Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Sky Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
All right. So in this one, the actual policy itself is dated, being named affirmative action. It should be a non-discrimination policy, and it just specifies different classes of individuals that we are not allowed to discriminate against, which is a lot of it's self-explanatory, but it's just bringing it to this decade, and I'll even say this century, and just using very much more specific language in that space. So again, I would recommend that we peruse it, make sure everything is good to go. And one more time, I would state that I did share this with Haley, and as long as these move forward in their current situation, then it is good and compliant with what OES requires. Any public comment? Any board discussion? All right. Moving on to Board Policy 2806, Limited English Proficiency, excuse me. Again, we can read it in its entirety, or we can move to summarize. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Alan Stallings, Gerald Alver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan, and Kathy Muse.
Yes.
All right. So this policy did actually not exist in our board policy. We did not have an LEP policy. So this is a brand new policy, which is why the entire thing is highlighted. Essentially, it says that we're going to make any reasonable effort to provide information for folks that English is not their primary language, to allow for contributions and people to engage with what's going on, meetings and otherwise. This probably is going to be much of a case-by-case basis, as we need to know the language that we're accommodating for. And again, the verbiage here is make reasonable efforts. Being a small district, that is probably going to present some serious challenges, but that doesn't mean that we don't try. So that's really what's going on in the language here, as far as we make an effort to make sure that people can participate in a meaningful way. Open up for any public comment. Board discussion? All right. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to the employment application template. On the employment application template, I did have a minor error here. I should have taken the original employer application and struck out the part that we're changing, and then replace it with the highlighted. So I apologize for that, and I can provide that document. But essentially, everything that is in the current application is in the new one. It's just more robust. But on the application itself, it's not a board policy, but just in an abundance of caution. If I can read it in its entirety, or we can waive to negate that. Okay. Do we have a second?
No second.
All right. Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Ellen Stallings,
Yeah.
Gerald Alver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
Okay. And again, what we're doing here is going to be just more robust verbiage, more specific language, all the things to just bring us up to compliance. I think we made it through. Those were the fun ones. So at this time, before we move into item 21, item 21 is a closed session item. We will be coming back from closed session and discussing the outcome. There is a good chance that the outcome is nothing to report. So in the interest and respect of everybody's time, you can stay to maintain that. But this is a closed session item that we will be moving into the conference room to do. I would imagine we're probably looking at 10 to 15 minutes-ish, just to be, again, respectful of your time in that space. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our attorney, Greg, who is on the TV behind me, and he's going to take on item number 21.
All right, yeah, so thanks, Mike. So the board is going to take up into closed session item 21 on the agenda, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. That's one potential case. So before the board goes into closed session, is there any public comment? All right, hearing none, the board will recess into closed session, and we'll come back and report out after that. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and mute the Zoom call and the video, but it will be running, so just be mindful. Okay, we are coming back from closed session. I got Greg who's going to step in here and take over for item 22.
All right, so the board took item 21, the matter of item 21 into closed session and had discussions. No reportable action was taken.
So we'll open up for public comment. I'll start that off with just as an FYI for the agenda purposes, item 22 lists the item 19 as closed session. That was an error on my part, as when I built the agenda, we added 2 items prior, which kicked it down the list. And so it's referring to the wrong item, but it does refer to the closed session item. So I apologize for that typo, but we'll open up to any additional public comment. And board discussion?
Nope, good talk.
All right, then we'll turn it over to Kathy Clater for item 23.
Oh, who's going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll second.
Meeting adjourned.
Well, timeout. I didn't hear who actually made the motion. Did you? Okay, just making sure. And then we also have to vote it in before we get excited. So, yeah, they were so fast to get out of here. So Kathy Clater,
Yes.
Ellen Stallings,
Yes.
Gerald Oliver,
Yes.
Scott Hagan,
No, I want to stay warm. Yes.
Kathy Muse.
Yes.
All right, and we are
217